getting to know you. We always say resident and staff. Now we want to say the fun event of the year at Stonebridge. This is about the regatta and how much fun it is and how it came to be and how all of us are important to making it a really great time. I want to start with the history with Mickey Schreiber. You will see in the view from the bridge her authoritative historic account, but she has some other things to tell us. And then I'm going to turn to Jeff Tiener, who has, as you know, taken a key role in making sure we all have this good time out there on our waterway. And then just in case there's some new people who were wondering that, is this something that I can get involved in? I have John Schmidt here to validate the statement that yes, newcomers are welcome and you can bring your own boat. And finally, Mickey and I are going to show you how we will be doing something for the first time for this regatta. So Mickey, tell us a little bit of the fun stuff, because everyone takes this very seriously, but that's the best part of humor, is you don't reveal that you know that there's really something that's there to be laughed at. So how did all this get started? When I know the resident executive committee took it very seriously, right?
We did. We did. We had it was early in the history of Stonebridge, and we had many, many issues to be cleared up, as you can imagine. Stonebridge was just beginning. And when Randy Hobler and Dick Christian came to the executive committee meeting one day and said, we have a proposal. And we all sort of,
oh no,
thought, oh God, help us. We have too many things on our plate as it is. But then they said, we want to start a Stonebridge Yacht Club. And we, and that sounded, well, it sounded serious, but it also sounded like fun. So, of course, we said yes. So that was in about 2008. And by 2010, we had our first regatta. In the meantime, I remember Randy was the Commodore, Dick Christian was the Vice Commodore, and he spent an entire winter in the basement building his boat and taking it very seriously, meticulously putting this thing together. And it's beautiful. It was beautiful when it came out. But that was an effort of love. And then Dick is, all you who knew him remember, had a marvelous sense of humor, but he took this very seriously, supposedly. We had the Hicks family was big part of this, and because of them, we even had T-shirts.
I think it was okay on the camera. and it said on the back.
And on the back, it says Stonebridge Yacht Club in great big blue letters. So everyone has one of these. They're rather large, most of them, so it fits everybody. But it has been really an amazing event. And I think it is unique to Stonebridge. I don't think any other Spring Point CCRC has a regatta. So we...
Well, maybe not any other place has a body of water that would, because without that, you really can't have a regatta.
Well, Dick always called it the Great Pond, Great Pond Regatta. He had been Commodore of the Carnegie Lake Yacht Club, I guess it was called, a sailing club, I think it was. And he took that very seriously, so this was sort of his reincarnation of that. I think that's...
But Dick needed believers, and Jeff is here to confirm two things. One, that Dick couldn't be the only boat in the regatta, so he had to persuade other people to also participate. And a regatta is no fun if you don't have an audience cheering from the sidelines. So those two other elements had to somehow be developed, and you're carrying on that tradition. So, as Dick is no longer with us, and so what are you doing about it, and what do you expect to happen? And
Well, it's really by default that this fell to me. I had the good fortune of being Dick's friend, and he did take this very seriously, as he took everything he undertook seriously. He had a marvelous sense of humor, great guy to be around, but he did take his responsibilities seriously. The monthly gentleman's lunch that he launched and went on for 111 times or something.
And
under
what
his...
about the martini thing?
Well, he was instrumental in that for sure. He organized things. He had a lot of fun, but he made sure that they went well. And so he set up quite an elaborate arrangement for the regatta, beginning with the display of boats a couple of days before the regatta so that people can see it and entice them to come. And then Good Friday, which is often associated with the day before the regatta, has a nautical theme to entice interest further. And then the regatta itself on Saturday, but he organized, and this will be continued again this year, to have chairs placed all around the great pond so that people can watch in comfort and safety, and water will be provided. And before Brooke left, she organized the Iceman to come here, so we will have those flavored ices that we've had the last few years. Speaking of martinis, originally they would serve martinis out here. That, of course, was Dick's preference, but it happened to be very hot sometimes, and people were too hot, dehydrated, and a little tipsy, and there were some falls, so that was put to a quick end by Dawn or her counterpart to make sure that safety was first. But we will have a post-regatta cocktail party, and I just met with Ed this morning, confirmed that it will have martinis among other things.
Wow.
So the martinis will be available about 3:30 up on the patio in the living room, and then that will be followed for those who participate in the regatta by what we can't call the Commodore dinner this year because we don't really have a Commodore. I'm looking for a Commodore, by the way, so anybody who's interested in that, please let me know. But there will be a skipper's dinner, so all of the people who put something on the lake that floats will be eligible to come to the skipper's dinner. I wasn't certain we would be able to do that this year because the dining room, as everyone knows, has been closed on Saturdays due to staffing issues, but Ed did confirm that we can do it again this year, so we will.
So that's audience development, it's participant development, and we have John Schmidt here, who moved in after all of this was already thought up, like I did, and, but you jumped in. No, you didn't jump in, you launched.
The Commodore said, you have to get a boat, so I bought a little radio-controlled boat, and my first regatta, I learned two things right away. One is that other boats were much larger than I, and the second thing was that my boat didn't do what I wanted it to do. So there have been collisions. Last year I collided with the battleship, which didn't work out too well from my standpoint, but I'll be out there this year trying again, and had a good time at it.
And you can also attest that the people who came to watch had a good time too. There's isn't there a bullhorn where they make announcements about who's ahead or
Well, we
who's
don't
gone or
actually have races. That's
Oh,
another
yeah,
part
that's-
of
yeah.
the silliness
Well,
of
who's
it,
still,
because
who's still on the water?
we have so many different classes
Right.
of boats that
Yeah.
it's not possible to have competitive events, but we do have, it does begin with the bullhorn. This year, actually, that of course was Dick's traditional role, but this year we have a Hicks daughter, Lindsay Hicks, will be here to continue it. As Mickey said, the Hicks people, Reeves and Joan and 4 daughters and son-in-law Steve Cokie, instrumental, and they provided about half the boats too, so that's one of the concerns
And the
this year.
t-shirts, yeah.
And the t-shirts, they
Yeah.
arranged for that, yes.
Okay.
So we're hoping to encourage new boats, and that's one reason that Mickey and Ingrid came forth, and we've provided some information to people on how they can purchase a boat to participate. We hope people will take us up on that and come to the skipper's dinner.
Well, speaking of boats, we will have now a first in getting to know you. We are going to have show and tell. And to help both the audience have a little close-up of some of the boats, and then also to encourage other people to join John in trying it out for the first time of having a boat, as Nikki and I are doing. So Jock's going to shut down the camera for a minute, and we're going to arrange for our show and tell. Here we are, back to the boat show, and we're going to start with John. John, can you explain your boat and how it works?
Okay, it's one of the smaller boats you'll see. It's radio controlled. It has control of two things, the rudder and the main sail. So if you know what you're doing, you can make it go where you want, and it doesn't always happen.
Does it pick up the wind too?
Oh, yes, yes.
So you have to be clever enough to steer it as well as judge where the wind is coming
It will
from.
go, and it'll go fairly fast and turn around and go upwind again if you get it, if you get it right.
And did you put it together or did you buy it?
No, it came almost assembled.
Really? Oh, good, okay.
And the batteries last for a couple of hours, so you can
Right.
try to stay afloat.
Yeah, by the way, what kind of a time commitment does an audience make to this event if you come out? What is it, 2 o'clock that the regatta starts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you plan to stay there for, until about 3 if
3 a little
for
after,
the
yes,
action?
right.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, now we're gonna turn to Jeff and this large boat that is here on the table. I think we're now ready to have, Jeff tell us about this huge vessel here.
Well, this boat I got, I guess 3 years ago maybe, it's part of the Hicks fleet, as they decided to downsize their boats. Libby Hicks finally laid down the law to Steve and said, we've got to get rid of some of these boats. So sort of one by one, they got rid of their fleet in anticipation ultimately of a move to North Carolina. So this is a boat that I did not have to assemble. All I have to do is put the batteries in it, and I do my best to run it. It's the same as John. This is the radio control. This is actually works for airplanes too, but this is, I only have 2 dimensions to worry about, which is plenty for me. I do have control with the rudder. That's quite responsive. I'm not so good with the sails. They sort of do what they want to do, even though I have, in theory, control over what's going on. I think that reflects my lack of knowledge rather than any flaw with the boat. But in any event, it is a lot of fun, and there are a couple of like this. There are about 3, I think, on the pond you will see just
Wow.
like this that are all came from the Hicks.
And is that a plastic boat?
Yes.
It is a plastic boat?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
it
then
is.
it has oiled or something paper sails.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And is
exactly.
that the kind of boat that people put together and spend the whole winter,
Dick's was,
gluing it?
no, Dick's was much more complicated than this, but I'm sure Steve assembled this. I'm not sure. It's tying the lines is very tedious. That's one of the hardest parts. It takes great finger dexterity to do that. And there's some tiny little pieces here. Inside you can't see. There's a lot of stuff going on, so.
Yeah. I hate to ask this, but if it tips over, does it stay together like that?
There's a very good keel here, so that keeps it from tipping over, and it's exceedingly forgiving.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Good.
glad to report.
All right.
So that has not happened. It looks like it will, but it doesn't.
Well, that's great. So you feel sort of confident in make the trip around the pond?
I can do that, and I usually get back. Occasionally I get too close to the edge, and then fate takes over, and somebody has to push it out for me, or I have to go fetch it. But
Well, Mickey and I would like to present a contrast to what you've just heard. Mickey and I are a real contrast to what you've just heard from Jeff and John, because we've never done we haven't even held a boat in our hands, basically, even though Mickey has been Dick for a long time. But we decided that this regatta deserves participants, and that it would be sort of comforting to the audience to know that there were some newbies out there and that anybody could probably do this. So we decided to go together and go to Amazon, this is the box, and that we would each get a small boat, mine's yellow,
It's yours,
and
mine.
Vicky's is blue, and that we would have to figure out how to run this. And then Vicky, you had some questions even about how you get the boat in the water. What were you concerned about?
Well, putting it together, what I was concerned about, we have two extra little,
Propellers?
These
Yes.
are with wings or just, what are they,
Yes.
propellers?
the little extra propellers in case we get in trouble, I guess.
This is part of the comic
Yeah.
show here.
Well, these are by sailors, I'm afraid these are known as cigarette boats, and they're scorned by real sailors, but we love them. And
We
so
think they're pretty.
we think they're pretty, and we're going to, I think they last 20 minutes before they have to be recharged. So I don't know.
They
we may
won't
have
see
to
too
come
much,
to you.
we won't make it through the
Just
hour.
us to recharge them.
Yes, you can
But
do that.
Vicki, you were worried about how we were gonna launch them, and you
Well,
gave
yes,
an
I mean-
assurance that you could get down to the edge of the lake.
I was, wondering if we could actually get down to the launching pad, but Jeff has assured us that that was not a problem. So here we are, and
It needs
anybody
batteries to
can
be.
get one of these on Amazon,
Right,
and they're fast, and they race around each other, and I think,
and this is the control.
we think
One goes left and right.
something about
One
it.
this little trigger makes it go fast. So we just have to load the batteries and get it,
We're
up
going to
and
practice.
so-
We're going to practice, and there is a practice, I gather.
Yes.
Yeah.
From
And there are a lot of
Jeff.
other people now involved, and so we'll get some help. But we're very excited about finally participating and seeing what we can do.
Well, yes, I've never, I've been around sailboats all my life, but never one of these, so this is very exciting. And we're-
And the other people who have the wonderful, real-looking boats are being helpful and patient. So I think we'll be able to at least launch something. So that's it, folks. We hope that you will find this as much fun as we have being in the audience and being supporters, as well as those people who have decided to have a boat out there and make this fun for all of us who have watched. So we're going to be both audience and participants this time around, we hope. So come out for the regatta, enjoy all the activities beforehand, and remember that this is really a fun thing. And in a way, it's really a sort of joke, because we all know that we've invented this in our minds to have fun. And if anybody asks you about a regatta, just say, of course we have a regatta. Come watch it on October 8th at 2 p.m. and you too will have fun. So I hope you enjoyed getting to know us and the boats.